Well, I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. Her name is Audra Yankton, and she's an empowerment and intuition coach and the founder of Unveil You, where she helps women who feel like they have to hide parts of themselves finally be seen, heard, and fully expressed. After years of silencing her own voice out of fear of judgment, Audra now guides others to release the pressure of performing, reconnect with their intuition, and most importantly, return to their authentic self with compassion. Through deep healing, energy work, and practical tools, she creates safe spaces for her clients to build self trust, express their truth unapologetically, and step into a life that feels aligned and free. She also hosts the Unveil You podcast, where she shares spiritual insight, healing conversations, and the journey of becoming who you really are. This is a great episode, and it really resonates with the Light Keeper's Path. We hear her story of how she found her inner light in time of darkness and got on the other side. I'm so glad you're here. Let's go. Hello, Audra. Thank you so much for
Hi,
coming
Kim.
today. Woohoo! I'm so excited you're
Thank you for having
here.
me. I know
Aw,
I'm excited to be here too.
the
Kim's
beautiful
one of my
Aud.
favorite people, so
Oh, you're one of my favorite people. I got to come visit you in Nebraska. Nebraska, right?
yeah.
I have never been there,
Oh,
but
well, that's where I'm from, but right now
mm,
I'm actually living in Utah. It's kind of like our new home, you could say. So, yeah.
okay. I love that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so Audra and I met in Jessica Rachel's community, and shout out to Jessica Rachel. Love her. Intuition
She's the
activation
best. Yes.
podcast. Listen to it if you haven't. Shout out. And she's got a great community, but more than that, I've met amazing people, and Audra is at the top of the list. So intuitive at such a young age. I'm not going to disclose her age, but I'm twice her age. And I wish I had all that when I was your age because I wouldn't have had to go through so much CRAP. Yeah. Woo.
It's your
And
soul journey, Kim. It's your soul journey. It's okay. You're
I
right
guess
on
I
time.
signed up for this. What the heck? I,
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Absolutely.
But Audra
Someday
has
you'll be on the other side and understand it. Yeah.
I know I'm getting on the other, whoa, on the other side, and I'll say, okay, yeah, I
Like
did
the
do all
other
that.
side, other
The
side. Yeah,
other
yeah.
side, other side, yeah. We've done some fun traveling together, and we've never even met in person. So go with that,
Right.
okay, people? Go with that.
That's
But
true. Yes, the astral traveling. So cool.
oh, it's always my favorite. Oh, well, that's another podcast. That's another episode. But
Whole other episode.
reeling it back in, Audra has an amazing podcast, Unveil You. And I was just recently on her podcast, and that was a wonderful. I can't wait for that to come out. That's going to come out in a week or so. And it's so perfect and timely that she is my second guest because Unveil You is a lot of my journey. So I guess what I just wanted, my first question, just how did you get on your spiritual journey and how did you get your, time back into the light keeper's path? When and how did you start to hear that inner light for direction?
Yes. So I'm gonna start answering that question with talking about the business I currently own and have founded.
Absolutely.
So I
Sorry about that.
and I think that no, I was gonna say because that perfectly ties into where I started
Yeah,
and answers your question in that way. So I am
perfect.
an empowerment and intuition coach, and as you mentioned, I'm the founder of Unveil You, which is my coaching business where I work with women one on one, and specifically women who feel like they're always holding back,
Mm,
and to help them feel finally seen and safe to be their authentic selves. So,
beautiful.
and again, this comes from my lifetime of silencing my own voice out of
Mm,
fear of judgment, specifically. Like
mm,
you'll notice if you listen to my podcast, a lot of it are themes around being seen. The fear of being seen
mm,
and how I've had to overcome that in my life in order to step into my soul purpose and help women with that.
mhm,
So, yeah, now I guide others in healing that pattern. So, this includes things like you and I have talked about using energy work, such as EFT or
mhm,
other modes of energy work, deep self compassion, and also other intuitive practices like meeting your spirit guides and starting that relationship with them. So,
mm,
and then, yeah, and I also complement that all with the Unveil You podcast, as you said, where it honestly, it kind of started as a place where I was like, as I'm coaching women, I would just love a place for these resources to live so I can be like, oh, you've never done EFT before. Okay, let's talk about how to do that. But also, here's a resource for you that you can go back to forever and ever on YouTube and Spotify or wherever these things live forever in the internet space. And
Yeah.
yeah, so just I I actually have gotten more into astrology, Kim, which is do
Mm.
you remember when we looked at natal charts
Yeah.
with that beautiful woman Monica, and I've been working with her a little bit, and I've been learning about
Oh.
how to read my astrological chart. And it's interesting because like the patterns of your life are all kind of like predetermined by astrology, which is
They are.
I thought astrology was just 17 magazine, like, oh, you're gonna find a crush this year, you know. No, it's actually not that.
I
It's so much
know.
deeper than that.
It
And
is.
it's funny because like the reason I bring that up is because I have found through my journey of healing and now learning about astrology that it was actually in the stars in my natal chart that the thing I was meant to come here to this planet to do was something that I had to overcome myself to then be the proof to people that like you can do this too. So
Mm.
yeah, I just kind of have had a lot of hardship through my life of
Mm.
just different situations where, in childhood I experienced like bullying through adolescence
Mm.
and like I think I've told you this before. I'm like healed now. Oh,
Oh,
there's
no,
my
I love
dog.
that. Oh, we have a little guest.
She popped in. Yes,
Oh,
we have our guest. That was
yeah.
baby, my little lady.
If you're not watching
but
on YouTube, we just had a little flash of a little 4 paws and a tail, and it was so
My little
cute.
my little poodle. Well, she's
Yeah,
kind of a doodle, but she's mostly poodle, so I just claimed it. She's my poodle, and I love
she's your
it.
poodle. She's your live
I
lovey.
love her.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and so it's spirit sent her to me, but that's another story. I
Yeah.
think we've kinda talked about that. But anyway, yeah, so it's just kinda like, you go through life, you kind of accumulate different traumas, and, like, finally, it just culminated in I have one beautiful daughter, and as worse ev all she's worse every pain and suffering I've ever had to go through to have her, but
Oh.
unfortunately, I had really severe postpartum depression after I had her,
Oh.
and I've gone through depression and anxiety most of my life, but this was like another level of like, I don't
Oh.
even know how to like get it together kind of
Oh
thing.
my
And
gosh.
so, but you know what that was, Kim? That was
What?
the trigger moment for my spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And that led me to literally this whole business that I have.
Mhm.
I worked on myself. I did all the inner work and
Mhm.
employed the tools that I now use with my clients. So I can now
Beautiful.
say I am the I know how to heal myself. Therefore, I am passionate about helping women experience that kind of freedom themselves. It's really
Oh.
amazing to be on the other side and be able to help people. So
Oh,
yeah, that's a little
congratulations.
blurb on my backstory. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Wow. Well, you definitely have come on the other side. You definitely have. And I've seen her in action. She's so intuitive and so gets the downloads. I think that's the funniest name ever. I don't know if I've mentioned that before on any. I learned that name download like from a good friend of mine, Sarah. She's going to be on the show in a couple weeks. And I said, Sarah, what's the whole thing with freaking download? That was like two.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, it's when you get like this message. I'm like, I've been getting those messages for 25 years. I never called it a download. And then we joked
I know.
maybe it came from like Silicon Valley or something, like the computer programming, whatever. It's so funny.
Well, so actually, I think that is exactly where it comes from. And now that you say that, is so I actually
Ooh,
for
she knows
people
the
who are
backstory.
new to spirit. I
Love
was gonna say people who
it.
are kind of
Tell me.
new to their they're if they're just now going through their spiritual awakening, or maybe they're not there yet, they have not been had their trigger moment to spiritually awaken. This is kind of how I like to use this analogy to explain it to people. Is like if we're a soul in a human body, it's kind of like you using a computer, right? Like
Yeah.
your body is your computer in a
It's a
way,
vessel.
and like spirit, it's a vessel, exactly. So,
Hmm.
spirit communicates to you through energy,
Hmm.
and that's I think why the term download like came to be is because it's like literally them almost like pushing an update to you or like pushing information to you like through the higher
Programming.
dimensions like down through
Yeah.
your channel. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that I
Makes
do
so much
believe
sense.
is where yeah, it's when I explain it in computer terms, people are like, "Oh, I get it now." Cuz like
Yeah.
we all use computers, not all of us see the proof of what spirit work you're working with spirit looks like. So
Isn't
it's
that
kind of
term just
easier
a
to start from
isn't that term just about 3 years new though? Isn't it kind of new? Or do you know?
I think I think all of this is now only just coming. I don't even wanna say it's all mainstream yet, but it's
Oh,
getting to be that way, so
it's
it's getting
getting
to be.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty
There's
it's
a lot of misinformation too, and, but I think if you are going through it, you know what's real and what's not, because that's what intuition is, you know? So, yeah,
exactly,
I think it is a
exactly.
relatively newish term. Like, I didn't,
Right.
I think Jessica was the first person who used the word download with me, and
Mm,
but it immediately made sense to me because I was like, "I've been getting these my whole life," and I never, like, was able to put words to what that was, you know?
yeah. Well, I got, I'm trying to think when I think about it. I would push them aside. And then when I became a Reiki master in like 1999, might have even screwed it over to 2000. Details, details. But that was way ahead of the time. And I listened and listened. And then I kind of stepped aside for a bit. My life, I kind of jumped off track for a bit.
Oh, well,
So yeah,
that's as is life.
I got on a different train for a bit. But so I wasn't, and then it's interesting when you don't listen to those downloads, whispers, nudge, whatever you want to call it, you get that feeling in your gut, right? And you just go,
Mhm.
right? I actually just had one
Well,
today. Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to think
oh,
of
I
what
was
it
gonna
was.
say that that's kind of like the mild and tame version of it. I'll give like what happened to me personally
Please
in
tell
my
me.
life. If you listen to my very first podcast episode, it's kind of where I break down like how did I get here? Like it's not just me giving birth and going through postpartum depression. There were so many times spirit was
Mm,
trying to intervene with my life and be like, "Hey, you need to get on like a different path." So,
yeah.
I've been like laid off a couple of times before,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always
Oh.
in these like really dramatic ways. Well, like, you know, things are going well, and then, like, all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, this job, like, isn't really, like, jiving with me anymore," and then, like, it's always when the job starts to, like, not feel good for me anymore or there's a toxic situation, spirit kinda, like, gives me my nudges like, "Hey, you know, maybe we quit, maybe we do something else," but I'm like, "No, I got my head down, I'm gonna keep working," and then, like, that's what spirit does. If you don't listen to the downloads and the beautiful information they're
Ugh.
trying to give you, they'll pull the rug out from under you and you have no choice. Like we were talking about in our episode about surrender. It's like I'm not good at that or haven't been. So spirit will pull the rug out from under me
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny though is I've always kind of
Mm.
understood that though, especially the last time it happened to me. I kind of had a cry for a minute, like because of course, like, oh God, now what am I gonna do financially as far as like I have to find a new job or something. But pretty soon after I knew I was in a better place because I'm like, oh, thank God. That was God. That was spirit that did that for
Yeah.
me, not to
Wow.
me, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so going back to your postpartum depression and everything, and I mean, that how long ago was that? Was that like 5 years?
No, actually. So,
4?
my spiritual journey's been pretty quick, actually. So, I've always been intuitive my entire life, but I just had my daughter in summer of 2023. So, about 4 weeks
Oh.
after that, I would say it hit
Oh
hard,
my
and then
goodness.
I was able to get off of my antidepressant like successfully with like and not needed that to go back down that path. It was actually just January of this year. So it
Oh
was
my
about
goodness.
yeah, yeah, I'm, like, pretty
Ooh.
fresh out on the other side, but, like, I can say that because I have this, like, strong, I guess, connection with spirit, that's now when I fall back on. It's not I never go down the doom spiral anymore because I
Mm-mm.
have this relationship with spirit, and it's been so beautiful. I'm so grateful because, I mean, depression sucks, let's be honest.
Yeah,
It's the
it
worst,
does.
like, when you feel hopeless, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, to answer your question, it's been, it happened not that long ago, but I am on the other side of it, and it's been almost a year now, so that's great.
Wow, congratulations. I had no
Thank you.
idea. And I just want to say how timely this is and that you're my second guest here. And I'm so honored that you're here. You know, a lot of people with multiple sclerosis have depression because it's very, it can be, well, it's a little bit different.
Depressing.
Yeah, it's a little bit depressing. It's a little different now because there's so many drugs, but that's a whole nother, that's 5 episodes in itself because that's
Oh, yeah.
super intense. But you know, because you've been on drugs and I was on the MS drugs and but again, that was oh my God, that was 25 years ago. Yeah, 25. That was a long time ago.
Mm,
Um,
good.
yeah. No more of that stuff. But, all I
Uh,
can say is congratulations to you, and how did you again, like, I didn't realize you were so new to this path. What inner light got you? I mean, you said you've always been kinda spiritual, but when it's all kinda caving in, I mean, what I did,
mhm,
like, I just completely most recently, about 2.5 years ago, I just surrendered. I just said, I can't live like this
mhm.
anymore in my current home life situation," and completely surrendered. What did you do? What and I didn't even know. I wasn't as because I was so disconnected with spirit and everything. I just said, "I can't do this anymore," and then I just said, "I gotta just trust." How about yourself? What did you do?
Yeah. Like, I'm the kind of person, even though it's funny, I've kind of had depressive tendencies throughout my life at different times,
Yeah.
I always have been extremely optimistic in the way that, like, I think people have found it to be a little agitating, if I'm honest, like,
Mm.
how can you have so much hope in these hopeless situations? But it's radical optimism, like,
Yeah, I love that. I
I
love
I've
that.
al
Ugh.
I've always been just so obsessed with seeing the bright side of stuff,
Mhm.
and to as some people with it probably looks like a fault to others, like, "Well, you're just kind of a little too cheerful, like, life isn't, like, that easy," and it's like,
Mm.
and now I understand that it was just, like it's just I intuitively have just always had a higher connection with spirit. Like I said, I've always kinda had, like, I'm claircognizant, which means, like, I don't see stuff, I don't hear things or anything, but I get, like, information just dumped into my head, and, when you go your whole life like that, you don't really understand, like, that's what's going on. It's not
Yeah.
my thoughts, it's literally,
It's
like,
all
higher,
knowing.
like, being.
It's all
Yeah,
knowing. You just know. You get that
exactly,
download
exactly.
and you just know. I got the
Yeah,
same thing. It's the same.
exactly, and, when you finally can put a label on it is when you're like, "Oh, okay, let's go deeper with this," but,
Yeah.
yeah, my whole life, it's just kind of been one of those things where I'm like, "This situation looks really bad, but at least, blah,
Oh,
blah,
that's
blah, at
so
least this
beautiful.
didn't happen," or,
Yeah.
that's just how I've always kind of been wired to be. I'm so grateful for that because,
Mhm.
and I think it would surprise a lot of people to find out that I have dealt with such severe depression before because I am genuinely or, it's genuine, but also just generally, like, very cheery. That's just how I kinda, like, lead with
Yeah.
happiness and, a smile, and, it just comes naturally for me. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly how I kinda started down this path with radical optimism and just
Yeah.
knowing that, like, no matter how bad this gets, like, I know there's a way out of it,
Mhm.
and your support system, like,
So
my
beautiful.
husband and I are very, very close. Like, we're
Yeah.
really good friends on top of being, like, married to each other, and, my parents are great, and have had a good relationship with them, and, especially my dad, who's also an intuitive, like, he I don't even think honestly, Kim, I don't think he realizes he's an intuitive, he just is. Like,
Mm.
he can, like walk into a casino and sit down at 5 machines and win, like, a huge bonus on all of them,
Yeah.
and he's
He
just
just
like, "Ha
knows.
ha, that's cool." He
Yeah.
knows, like, or he'll be like, "Oh, that roulette wheel's about to hit 5 red," or whatever, and he'll sit down,
Wow.
put 20 bucks on it, and it hits. Like, he's just, like, so crazy intuitive, and, I think and talking with Jessica Rachel Moore, speaking of her,
Mhm.
I kinda asked her, I was like, "My dad's a really intuitive person, like, I know this isn't, like, genetic, but explained that to me. How did I end up in a family that with an intuitive kind of being part of that?" And
Yeah.
she said that on the other side, like my soul origin, I found through reading with Jessica, but also just, like, I kinda knew I was an earth angel already.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica's information just kind of, like, confirmed that for me,
I
but
could see that.
so, in my last life, sorry, in my last incarnation before this one, I lived in the angelic realm.
Yeah.
I'm a very old soul that,
Yeah.
lived all my lifetimes and
I love all
ascended.
the woo. Yeah.
And yeah, and it's so fun. I love it. And so yeah, she said that when earth angels come down to, like, have an incarnation, they tend to choose, like, parents that where at least one, if not both of them, are naturally intuitive because it
Mhm.
helps support my journey on, like, developing those skills, if that makes
Right.
sense. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I've been really fortunate to have a dad who's so connected to that. And yeah, so, like, it support system
That's
and radical optimism.
that's so beautiful, and I do wanna do a little note here because I kinda said poo-poo on drugs. Now, with depression, sometimes I've done Western and Eastern, and they're both good, and they both
Mhm.
have their
Mhm.
spot. And this again,
Absolutely.
this is not a medical show. I'm giving my personal my experience, and my guests that come on, they give their personal experience. And sometimes with depression, the drugs are good because it can be a chemical imbalance and it assists you
Yep.
to get balanced. And then it's up to the person to take it to the next step and to wean off. But that part of taking it to the next step and weaning off is the most difficult part. Would you not agree? Because Western
Yeah.
medicine, they want to keep you frickin' on it. And that's okay. Now,
Yeah.
there are some functional medical doctors and there's some new agey or integrative, et cetera, and they're more open minded. But for the bulk of
Mhm.
if you want to do a stereotype, they're gonna say, "Just get on it and stay on it." I don't know, was that your
Yeah.
experience? How did you get off of
Yeah. I had a really unfortunate experience with like a psychiatrist that
Yeah.
so I'm sure I hope other people have had better experiences, but it seems like every time I've gone in for psych like
Mhm.
conversation, they're just like you would think those doctors have so much compassion, but that's not my experience. They're like
No.
the least compassionate doctors I've dealt
Yeah,
with, unfortunately.
I agree.
So I remember going through and I was talking about like family history. Like I've had like a cousin, I've lost to suicide and things of that nature.
I'm sorry.
And so you're going through those kinds of
Ugh.
like conversations with them. And she's sitting there with like nothing on her face. And
Mm-mm.
she's just kind of like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
okay, well, considering, and I'll never forget the way she put it, considering you have a cousin that completed suicide, like completed
Uh,
suicide,
it's just
that
a
just like
form. It's so
really,
clinical.
it
Like, "What?
it
Really?"
was, it was, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Ugh," and she was like, "Yeah, honestly," like, because I'm the kind of person, you know me, I'm Miss Practical. I am the person who's like, "I don't mind doing stuff, but I have to see an end goal. Like, I have to know, like, where does this start and what do we look for and where does this
Yeah.
end?"
Right.
And so I was basically trying to understand that, and she's like, "Well, considering you've had a cousin complete suicide, this is probably just something you're always gonna have to deal with, and that's that." And I was like, "What the?" Like, that was not what I wanted to hear. I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't wanna know that, like, oh, I'm just damaged goods and there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do. Like, because I'm willing to put in whatever inner work or mental, physical, anything that I have to do to like get to the other side of stuff. And I mean, and to be fair, like I guess there is a reality that I was thinking I can accept like potentially having to get off or stay on antidepressants forever if that's the case. But I know that it wasn't a permanent chemical imbalance. Like I knew it was like this is something I only experienced after like postpartum hormone shifts
Very
and everything like
common.
that. So
It's
yeah, it's
very
very, very
common.
common.
Very common.
Then and I'll say this for your listeners, the only reason they even like caught it as early as they did because I was extremely honest on all of the pediatrician, like when we go in for like, monthly appointments with my daughter for the
Yeah,
first month, it's like every week or something.
it
But
is. Yeah.
anyway, I was very honest with my, psych eval stuff because I was just like, I'm not feeling good and this is not acceptable for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I was living in Nebraska at the time. And Nebraska, my experience out there has been it's mental health isn't like doesn't exist, which
Yeah.
is interesting
Yeah.
because it's like depression definitely exists. I think a lot of people live with that, but it's unfortunate. A lot of it goes untreated because it's like, no,
Yeah.
nobody really goes through that.
Right.
But yeah, it was finally I felt like I had done enough work on myself that and actually, I think spirit, I don't want to say spirit forced it, but it kind of feels like spirit put me in a position to try to get off of them because we moved to Utah end of last year for a new job that I'm currently still at. And like in the middle of this move and everything, like God, Kim, I've moved so many times. You lose your doctor every time you move. So it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I'm trying to just get a prescription refill for these antidepressants that I was on. And like nobody was like helping me out. Like my one old
Oh.
doctor was like actually not my OB, but a different doctor that I didn't know as well was basically like, oh, we'll write you a 30-day prescription and good luck
Yeah.
though. And I'm like, oh
Mm.
my God, I can't like only have 30 days of this. Like, cause when you get off that stuff, if you go cold turkey off, it like really messes with your brain.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to pick up this prescription and I'm going to use it to taper off. Like I'm done with this.
Oh,
And, I
wow.
don't,
Oh, that
if
was your
I was getting the
whisper.
runaround and
That
it was my whisper, it was my
that
nudge.
was your whisper.
And,
That isn't I've got total goosebumps. Isn't that
oh,
amazing? No, I
yeah,
do. That was your
really.
whisper. Wow. Wow, that's so
Well, you know what's
amazing.
funnier? Oh, I just got like a shiver when I thought of this, but
What?
I do a lot of automatic writing.
Yes.
And I asked spirit specifically, like, should I get off of antidepressants basically? And it came through, or no, while I was in the middle of tapering off or I had just finished or something, um, there's kind of some of those unsure feelings like, oh, am I really ready for this?
Yeah.
Even though I was feeling good, you always kind of
Mhm.
worry when's the other shoe gonna drop. And I asked spirit in automatic writing, is this is that something I should have done? And spirit came through and said, antidepressants are great when you need them, but they were hindering your spiritual growth. And it was good
Yeah.
that you got off of them. And I've never felt closer to my intuition than I do now, being on the
Isn't that
other side of
amazing?
medication.
Wow.
But that being said, some people do need it forever because you're truly born with an imbalance from birth. And like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It was just,
There
that wasn't my
is
experience. I was like
there is nothing wrong.
ready to get
There
off.
is yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
sometimes what you can do is you can lower the dose, and we all have our own
Yep.
journeys. There's no judgment here, and we're just sharing our own personal experiences and what worked for us
Exactly.
personally. I always like to emphasize that with illness or recovery or your journey, it's like perfume. It doesn't smell the same on everybody. It doesn't, you know?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I I
Yeah.
I I love Burberry. That's probably one of my favorite, and I'd love to do a plug.
One my mom's always worn. I love it.
I love Burberry,
Remind
and it's so funny. They came out with a new fragrance, maybe 2 months ago, Burberry Goddess, and I
Ooh.
so wanted to love it. So I went to the department store. How old is that, right? I went to the department
Well, you
store
have to
and
try it on. You
I
gotta make
had to
sure
try it
it
on.
matches
Yes,
your chemistry. Yeah,
I
you
had to
got
try it on. I didn't like it. Such a bummer.
I had it is a heartbreak. Yes.
It's a heartbreak. Yeah. I know, right? Oh my
I've been through
gosh.
that actually where you're like, "Oh, that perfume smelled really good on so and so," and I'll try it on, like, at a whatever department store. They still exist.
Yeah.
I've been there before, and
They still exist
and,
in the
yeah,
mall.
you try it on you, and you're kinda like, I don't know about that." But,
Yeah.
yeah, I've kinda kept the same scent for probably about 5 years now because 'cause I'm just
Ooh.
like, "I know this is a good one, people like it, so I just keep
Yeah.
buying it."
Oh, I love
I'm
that.
just
I love
I'll
that.
probably live the next 50 years of my life with this perfume if they keep making it,
Oh,
so
that's so good. Well, thank you so much for sharing that deep story.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
you dug deep and you because of your spiritual connection, you were able to kind of go, "You know what? This is not working. This is the message. This is
Mhm,
the inner light telling me that I need to just get off of it." So,
exactly. Well,
some
when
of our
stuff gets difficult on purpose,
yes.
I was gonna say, like, it's literally never an accident. It's spirit usually just kind of messing with you a little bit to, like, make things uncomfortable enough for you that you do the right thing, you know?
That's the message. That's the message right there
Mhm.
that I was gonna say is when things are so
Oh,
difficult, that's not the path. That's not the path.
exactly.
But, sometimes people are
Like
so in it and so in it deep, and maybe they don't have that foundation like you had EFT with your dad. You had
yeah,
a really good foundation of spiritual, whatever, and maybe people don't have that, and they could have what they think is spiritual because they were raised with some deep, deep religion, but it never really resonated with them. So if
yeah,
you could give them one little tip, let's say they're going through that, and let's say it's again postpartum depression and or depression from an illness. And one
mhm.
thing I think I know my answer, but I want to hear what yours would be that first step, to get through that just dark, murky ick to lightness, to go deep and
Mhm.
find that inner light. Can you think of something that would help?
Well, the first thing I'll say on that is more often than not, unfortunately, you just have to find your rock bottom or you have to hit your rock bottom,
Yeah,
because only at
sometimes.
that point are you kind of willing to accept that like I don't really care
Yeah.
at what happens at this point. I just needed something to change here. So
Yeah.
that's kind of one thing is like you hit your rock bottom and then well, what's interesting, Kim, is I think about like my spiritual journey, and there was one day I just woke up, and on my astrological chart, actually, I was able to trace it back to a certain transit, which was interesting. Like
Yeah.
everything's a timed event. It's
Mhm.
crazy. And there was just one day I kind of woke up, and actually it was Jessica's podcast
Oh, I
about
love
Earth
that.
angels.
Mhm.
And that's why it drew me in. It was like my soul was like, "Oh, it's time to listen to this." And I listened
Yeah.
about earth angels, and then I started listening to other podcasts about um higher dimensions
Mm.
and what is a fifth dimensional being and like all this
Mm.
stuff that I was like, "Is this real?" I start looking into it more and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, it is real." Because I know it because my soul like is telling me that this is real.
Yeah.
And so I had this voracious hunger to just go down these rabbit holes and learn as much as I could. And we're so lucky. We have the internet, we have chat
Yeah.
GPT, we have so
I
many
know,
things
so
now
much
that
easier
um
today. Yeah.
it
So
is
ma s
easier.
so
So
maybe it was I don't mean to interrupt, but maybe it was
oh, you're fine.
a thirst for knowledge, for deeper knowing and
Yes,
knowledge. Now, there might be people on
yes.
here listening, and they don't have that spiritual piece, and we're talking some woo, and we've gone deep on the woo, and some of these my audience
Oh, it tickles their soul though, and I love it.
I hope it tickles their soul, and some of them, they might be going, what are you talking about? I don't even get it." And so,
Yes.
um, just a little more in layman's term, maybe that
Mhm.
first piece is thirst for knowledge and not focusing on the dark situation. Maybe that's what it is, and
Exactly.
it could be as simple as, I really like to bake. So just starting to look at recipes, or it could be, let's
Mhm.
not talk any woo. I'm not going to talk meditation or anything like that. It's just
Sure.
really simple. It could be, I like to collect baseball cards. So just starting just that little step to get out of that darkness. Yours was thirst for
So
knowledge.
there's thirst for knowledge, and I would say there's probably 2 other things. The first one is I've always been very, very drawn to self-care, and I love
Yes.
spas. I love self-care. I always have prioritized that. I know a lot of people think that it's selfish or
No.
whatever, and they don't do it, but it's actually very sacred. Self-care is very sacred. If you're not
Yes.
taking care of yourself, then, you can't be a whole human. You can't be,
Hmm.
fulfill what you're here to do. So, um, like, what do you like to do? Like, what is self-care? Is it baking? Is it
Right.
doing a face mask? Is it going to the spa, treating yourself
Yeah.
to a little shopping? Like whatever that is for you.
Hmm.
Self-care was something that I always made sure to prioritize. Um, oh, and I'm so glad you have an editor because I'm like, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. I had a second one.
Well,
Hmm.
we're gonna keep
No,
talking. Don't
we'll
worry
come back
about
to
it.
it.
I do have an
Yeah.
editor. We'll
But
probably just
anyway,
keep
yeah.
this in because I like to do raw and real. But I thought of a couple where you
I
were
know.
talking and I wrote them down. So one is community, and you talked about that. You talked a little bit
Yes.
about community,
Yes.
and I can tell you when about 2.5 years ago when I hit rock bottom and I was really on the last pivotal piece of my healing journey, I found my community because I left everything. So it
Yep.
was dark. It was really dark. And so I started to find my community. And you said find your community. So let's just
Yes.
envision this. You've got somebody who's got a chronic illness or postpartum depression,
Mhm.
or who knows what it is, and it's dark. And the people around you do not understand. So you need to find, not need, it helps if you find your community of like minded people. And it could be, hey, guess what? I don't want to accept this anymore. I want to make a
Yes.
change. Right?
Well, like, again, we're so spoiled in the internet age. I mean, I'm not kidding you. You can Google
Yes.
any kind of community and it exists. Like
Yeah.
anything you were going through, there is a like remote online community that you can go to. And I mean, like, I didn't know that like there was a community like for intuition, for example, but I just happened to, this came across my lap and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the best thing I've ever done. I'm meeting all these people that like
Yeah.
empathize with me in a way that like, my family doesn't, for example.
Hmm.
So it's like it's all about like, yes, like to your point, find a community that works for you. Like, is it a community where you go and do a hobby? Is it a
Uh-huh.
community where you go and talk about the thing that you're going through?
Yes.
Like for example, when I'm like depressed. I when I had postpartum depression, I'm not sure a postpartum depression community would have resounded with me necessarily because I'm like, I just want to like pull myself out of this. I don't want to like keep, talking about these kinds of things. Maybe that's not what it would have been, but so when I say community, I don't even mean necessarily specific to what ailment or thing
Exactly.
you're going through. It's just
Exactly.
what sparks you up, what lights you up, and
Exactly.
go find people that
Right.
do that. And you'll just like people come to you or they get put in front of you at the perfect time always.
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah,
if you just give like a little bit of effort to like try to find
yeah,
your people, they will find you. And I'm a
exactly.
testament to that because that's been happening for me too.
Yeah,
So,
it's been unfolding ever since met you in Jessica's group, which
absolutely. Yeah.
let's see, did you join when did she start it? Did she start it in April maybe? I don't remember.
I think she did. I think I waited an entire month after it started because I wasn't sure about it. I was like, is this
Yeah,
something I would
right.
enjoy?
So maybe
I think I
May.
bought her Meet Your Spirit Guides course and she actually included a free month with that purchase. So
Oh, nice.
I trialed it
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, these are my people. I love this.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I mentored with
So,
her for about 3, 4 months. So I worked
oh,
one-on-one
really?
yeah, I worked one-on-one with her for, like, every week for, I don't know, like 10 or 11 weeks. Yeah, it was
That's
amazing.
awesome. She's just such a great injection of positivity in
She
like any way. You
is.
know, she's
I
just so
know.
happy and like that's why I love like if I use a medium or a psychic, like which I've only done that 2 or 3 times in my life. She's
Mm.
been 3 times total. She's been two of those
Oh,
sessions for
yeah.
me. So because
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
like she's so full of love and light, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what you want when you're talking. But
Absolutely,
and
and she
actually that
mm.
reminds me because she was on my podcast the one time, and that was actually going to be my second point. Huh? The train came back to the station.
Oh, I knew it would. Hey, the
Was
train came back,
yes, yes.
audience.
The train came back. Yes. So, the other thing is it's really easy to be really kind of feel miserable when you're in the throes of depression or whatever it is you're going through, and just kind of like thinking about like, why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. Like,
Yes.
like it's really easy to we call it mizzing out. My husband and I miz out. So
Uh-huh.
is
Miss
when you're
out.
just like so low. Yeah, you're mizzing out. And one thing that I finally that clicked for me when I was going through my healing journey was wow, like seeing the glass half full is actually a strategy. It's not just optimism, it's a strategy. And
Yes.
so what I would start to do is like, how are these unfortunate events actually like happening for me? And I
Mm,
started looking at everything I'd ever gone through in my entire life,
mm,
every bad thing, every breakup, every
mm.
bad, bad relationship, whatever. And I was like, I can definitively say that I can take something positive out of every single thing that's happened to me, as traumatic as it ever was. Like, did you learn something? Did you
Yeah,
grow? Are you never going to do that again because that happened to you? And now you can like pass that on to other people. Like, there is
yeah,
always like something positive you can take from stuff. Even if it feels like this is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me, if I promise you, if you can figure out what is the silver lining in it, it will change your
absolutely.
life and
Yeah,
it will heal you. It really
yeah,
does. So
absolutely.
that's what I've naturally always done, and it
And
paid off. So
and the other thing too is you've been through it, you're on the other side, you have complete empathy. Think of all the wonderful women you can help now, right?
exactly,
I mean,
exactly. I mean, it's literally in my
you get
astrological
it.
chart.
Yeah,
I do,
yeah,
and it's like I had to overcome that to be. I mean, who wants to work with a coach that's never been through what you're trying to do?
yeah,
It's like, okay, that sounds nice, but do you really know if this is possible? It's like I
right.
am the living proof that you absolutely can, and not only that, I'm going to show you how because I took really detailed notes throughout the process,
Yeah, I love
and
that.
I have a lot of different tools too, like not everybody's going to resound with EFT, for example. So where it's all about meeting people where they're at and like
Yeah,
what they need for their specific journey. Because everybody's going to be so different from each other.
yeah.
So yeah,
That's so
it's you got to be
beautiful.
the living testament. Yeah.
You do. Yeah, definitely. Well, healers are the ones who had to heal themselves. Those are the best healers. And you can tell the fakes. They don't get it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like, yeah, like you know the spammy stuff on the internet when you can just
Mm.
tell honestly like the energetic signature of what they put out sometimes. You can tell if someone's real or not in a way.
Yeah,
If you kind of like tap
exactly.
into that. But yeah, and I mean same for you, Kim. That's why I was like so like excited. Well, for a number of reasons, but the main reason I was so excited to have you on my podcast was because I'm all about showing people proof. Like, look at this like beautiful soul who has literally come out from a chronic illness that she said, like, you had doctors tell you that you would never have a whole life again, basically. And
Pretty
here you
much,
are on
yeah.
the other side having like a beautiful, thriving life and
Yeah, it's
symptom free.
amazing. Yeah.
And you are the proof of that. And
Oh,
I
thank
don't want to
you.
just tell people like, oh, I know somebody who healed, their
Mm.
MS. No, like I'm gonna bring her on the show and we're gonna talk about it
Oh,
because You have to be like, you are literally the proof that some people, you never know who needs to see that, because
Yeah,
it
I love
feels
that.
hopeless, you know what I mean? It can feel hopeless,
Yeah.
and, if people can't empathize with what you're going through, it feels very lonely, you know what I
It
mean? So,
does. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and I loved being on your show. It's gonna be so fun. I can't
oh,
wait for
good.
it to come out.
I know, we got the final edits done finally today, so I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
yay. Oh, that'll be
It'll
so
be it'll be
nice.
my very next one, so I'm excited to release it, because that's gonna be one I have a feeling is gonna be like a, "Whoa, this is,"
Game
like, I
changer.
don't know how many, yeah, game changer, like, who knows people that have healed, like, a chronic illness like that, or a,
I know others. I have one in mind that I really
yeah,
want
it
I wanna get her on my show, but when the timing's right for her. I know another
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And I
so
know others that
you'll
have
know.
yeah, I know others who have, healed, and, it's such an interesting world because, you can have family members and others who are like, "Oh, well, you were just lucky," or, "Well, you didn't really have stuff," or, well, it's different on everybody. It is a chameleon of a
Yeah.
disease, I will tell you that, and I'm
Well, you can excuse anything away, as you know, but here's the thing that I know you and I know, Kim, is that there's no such thing as a coincidence.
yeah,
And like, everything happens for a reason. So yeah,
exactly.
it's not that you got lucky. No, this is
Yeah,
something anybody can do.
yeah,
Anybody can. Well, of course
exactly.
you're lucky in the way that like you were able to get through it, but like
Yeah,
um
but you make your own
not
luck.
so coincidental. Exactly, exactly. You make your own luck. I love that.
My, my mom's dad used to always say that. She'd say, "Oh, Kimmer." Granddad used to always say, "You make your own luck," and it's true. It really is, and you know what?
Granddad
It
knew something.
granddad knew, and you know what? Again, it's just going back to being quiet and listening. If we wanna keep it simple, because I always like to kinda circle back, because it's the light keeper's path. Because I'll tell you, there was a time there I wasn't sleeping 3 or 4 I was waking up 3 and 4 times in the night. I didn't sleep well for two and
Yes.
a half years, and then you're getting delirious. So, there might be some listeners who are kinda delirious, and they're like, I don't even I applaud them if they're still listening at this point, because there were times I couldn't listen to a podcast for beyond 45 minutes. Well, some I could,
Mm,
but, sometimes maybe the simplest thing is you just close your eyes for 5 minutes and just be with yourself.
yes.
And that's when we
Mhm.
make it really, really, really simple, because these other things and these woo things and the self-care, I love that. But I got to tell you, there was a moment, and maybe yourself too, I wasn't at that. For me to be able to
Oh,
close my eyes for 5 minutes and be with myself, and I'm talking no noise, no nothing, just be with yourself for
yep.
5 minutes. I think that might be actually the takeaway today. Be with yourself for
Yep.
5 minutes and then increase it.
Yeah,
And like you said, self-love, absolutely. And it's a tough place. It's a tough place. And
it
we're
is. We have a lot of distractions too, like phones and computers and like
yeah,
everything else going on. It's really like, I would like anybody listening to this, like, genuinely close your eyes and think, when was the last time you just closed your eyes and didn't think or do anything for 5 minutes? And I don't mean
5
falling
minutes.
asleep. I mean, like,
No.
seriously, 5 minutes.
Nothing.
Nobody, that doesn't accidentally happen. It's a very intentional thing, and you have to
Exactly.
like make the time for it. So, that's it's huge, and that's when you'll start to, like, hear your body, like, tell you
Mm.
stuff, like, not, I don't mean voices in your head, but I mean, it's just
No,
kinda like,
yeah.
you'll start to, like, all of a sudden get, like, information that you're like, "Oh, you know what?" Like, you might get an idea, and that's not a coincidence, that's spirit telling you something, and, if you're
Absolutely.
not taking time to get quiet, then it I don't know how you're just, like, winging it out there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I used to do it. I used to do it a lot, and
yeah.
I mean, I was even thinking about, like, you have to, like, when you said, you didn't want to, like, hear things sometimes, like, when you're in the middle of stuff, like, "Oh, I'm
Ugh.
not ready for that," or whatever. Like, that's very real for me, because I remember when my dad was teaching me EFT and stuff, I was younger, didn't appreciate it. I learned it, but I didn't appreciate it for what it was. And I recognize it now for, like, it just wasn't my time to go down my soul journey, or my, towards my living in higher alignment, you could say. Like, it
Yeah.
just wasn't my time yet. And because in college, oh, I had a really bad depressive time my sophomore year of college. I was just
Mm,
going through some stuff, and
mm,
he always wanted to do energy work with me. And I'm just like,
mm,
I don't want to do that. That's so dumb. Whatever. I was just being bratty and angry and depressed.
mhm.
And um, now I kind of understand it of like, I guess that's just something I had to go through because I wasn't ready for healing. I was not ready to heal yet. And
Yeah.
when you have a husband and a baby, you're a little bit more motivated to change your
Yeah.
life a little bit more,
Yeah.
So you have
Definitely.
to find your motivation. What is
Yeah.
your motivation? Find it
Right.
and keep a picture of it to everything you look at all day so that you don't forget and you don't go astray. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I
um,
do. I totally do.
and self-care goes with that too. It's not
It does.
selfish. It makes you better so that you can be
Yes.
better.
Yes. Well,
Mhm.
closing your eyes for 5 minutes and being completely quiet, that is self-care. It doesn't have to be a
It
bubble
is.
it doesn't have to be a bubble bath. We always think, "Oh, bubble
No.
bath. Let's get the most let's get the wonderful journal. Let's get out the crystals." I've been holding mine. Da da da, right? So funny.
Exactly.
I was gonna I have one of my favorite journals. It's on one of my Amazon preferred list is it's like, "What's your intention for the day?" Or, "What is your" something like that, or, "What is your" and mine, I always
Oh,
say
like a gratitude journal kind of
no, well,
thing.
there's gratitude, it's called wellness journal, and in the beginning, it's kinda like,
Oh.
what are your things?" And mine is, I be present, be intentional. Those are like, and then I'll toggle with a couple others, but you're so right about being intentional, and it's such a
Mhm.
loud world right now that it's not as easy.
Very.
God, the iPhone, just everything, the beeping, the beeping. Yeah. But,
It's crazy. I know
it
every
it
news
is.
headline feels like a Saturday Night Live skit, right? Like, it's just it doesn't
I
feel
know.
real right now. There's just so much happening, but yeah, it's like you have to be able to disconnect from the noise. And it also sounds probably really hippy dippy, but like walk your bare feet in the grass
Oh,
and connect
yeah.
with earth. That
Yeah,
that
grounding,
you have to do it. Grounding.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I do wanna
Which
end
a lot of us don't do that. Mhm.
no, I do wanna end on a high note in terms of doctors, because I just read, I don't know if you saw this on social media, but Swedish doctors are now prescribing travel. Right? I wanna move to Sweden.
What? Go Sweden. Oh my
Okay,
god.
right, go
Yes.
Sweden, yeah. I got a friend over there.
That's that's
I wanna
amazing.
I know, I wanna do a Zoom and talk about that. I'm like, "Really? I love that." Yeah, it's true.
I I had actually the episode I just released this week, I had a really beautiful conversation with a woman named Melissa Byron who she founded a company or her I guess business called a Solo Woman Traveling.
Mhm.
And that's exactly how she found her authentic self was through solo traveling. And
Mm,
the whole conversation is centered around that we had is centered around like just how transformative like traveling in general, yes, but, like, by yourself can also
yeah,
be very therapeutic and, like, it
yeah,
forces you to do things you normally, like, lean on others to do,
yeah,
So, it's so good for you. Like, I know some
it
people
is.
have never even been on an airplane, and I'm not saying you
Mm,
have to fly somewhere, but, like, go on a little road trip, go 2 hours away and kind of, like,
yeah,
go see some things you haven't seen before, go have some new experiences. It really is, like,
opened your
invigorating.
eyes.
It kinda
Well,
makes
yeah.
yeah,
And, it could also
refreshing.
be, and it also, because again, like, some of my listeners might not have the financial means, or they might not be able to have some whatever it is. It could be get in the car and go on a path that you haven't been,
Exactly.
like a nature hike,
Yep.
or
Be a
if you're
tourist in your own city, right?
be a tourist in your own city, or it could be also as simple as, if you're not mobile, have somebody drive yourself somewhere and then just be. Look just
Yes.
somewhere else, in if it is nature, or, sometimes we don't really have a lot of nature. It could be someplace where there's trees along the street. So, or go to a new neighborhood and
Mhm.
just, yeah. But travel
Yeah, that's
travel
true, yeah,
is
little
when we bring it down to really simple, but of course I
I
always
know it doesn't
recommend
have
is
y you bring a really good point up because I think, yeah, when a lot of people hear travel, they think, like, just lighting money on fire or throwing it out a window. It's
yeah,
like, it can be as expensive as you make it, right? Like,
right.
I've been able to, like in Salt Lake area where we live in, Las Vegas is only, like, 5.5 hours away. So,
Mm,
I have been on, like, like, where financially I wasn't doing as well and still able to go to Vegas and have a great time and to where I'm at now, like, a few more years experience and some better pay later. Having a different experience in Las Vegas, but it's all the same. It's like I'm still in Vegas having a really good time. It's just like meeting yourself where you're at and like not getting down on yourself if you can't like afford like the bougie experiences. Cause
Right.
guess what? You can
Exactly.
make anything a bougie experience. You can have fun
You
doing
can.
anything. So
Right.
it does,
Yes.
you don't have to spend a lot of money to
No.
enjoy
No.
yourself, you know? So,
Yeah. It all, you know what? Honestly, all of it really goes back to mindset. I want to make the
mhm.
change. That's first of all, it's the decision. I want to, is
Yes.
it you hit rock bottom? And then I just want to have a little takeaway for our listeners. Do you hit rock bottom? Do you like, okay, this is enough? And that's when you make the decision. And then you say, okay, what is it going to be? Is it going to be thirst for knowledge? Is it going to be self care? It might be as simple as we said, just closing your eyes for 5 minutes a day and just taking it like
hmm
that. Because we both know when we've been in
Exactly.
those darkest moments, these other things, oh, meditate. I mean, I talk about meditation. I'm going to have a meditator talk come on my show. I talk about journaling.
Like a professional? I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
exciting.
I talk and I having next week is my EFT practitioner. She's amazing. She's certified and all that stuff.
Yes.
But sometimes that's just too much. So it's as
hmm
simple as just 5 minutes a day, closing your eyes, and then maybe six, then seven, then 10. And then maybe you do it twice a day, and then you work yourself up to journaling or meditation. But we just want to just
Yes.
do it like super. What's the simplest thing? Because as we know, I've been there, you've been there. When it's dark and it's overwhelming and it's, I don't know how I'm going to get through this day. I don't know how I'm going to get through this
hmm
freaking hour.
Yeah.
And I got to take
Literally.
and I got to take care of people. What the right? I've been there. I know.
I know. Yeah, yeah, when you got babies dependent on you and, yeah, like in my family too, my husband's actually stay-at-home dad, so financially, like, I am the person, and, like, that was an extra layer of stress, right, on top of everything of, like, I'm not motivated, I hate what's going on in my life right now as far as my job at that time anyway, and I ended up actually getting laid off, like, while I was, like right out like, soon after I came back from well, not soon after maternity leave, but like, within a few months. And that was kind of like, oh my God. Like I'm still kind of going through my depression, but it weirdly gave me some hope of like, I know this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't supposed to happen. And that's what I
Right.
clung to. And that's
Yeah.
what got me through was just like, I don't know why. I have no proof of this, but I know for a fact that this was supposed to happen. So
That's
yeah,
true surrender. But you're an absolute
true
warrior.
surrender.
It's true
Yeah.
surrender. You're an
And
absolute
you too,
warrior.
Kim. You
Thank you.
too. Yes.
I love that,
Thank you.
fellow warrior.
Um, Yeah, yes, absolutely. So, but yeah, to your point, no, like closing your eyes 5 minutes a day, it's like you have to start. That's the thing.
Mhm.
It's like you're never like don't think of your goals. And this is actually something that I'm really good at as like I work in research. So I'm really good at taking big problems and breaking them down to like really tiny bite-sized action steps, you
How
could say.
fun. Uh-huh.
So and that's something I use in my coaching because it's like I've noticed like my husband and I are complete opposites. Like the way we approach problem solving could be more different. So I've noticed from being married to him now for a time that there is a group of people that exists out there that aren't as type A as me and they don't like break things down and have the nice little, stepped approach towards stuff. They see huge goals and it overwhelms them so much that they
Yeah.
don't even start. And I just like want your listeners to understand that like you don't look at the big goal and think like, how am I going to get there?
Mm-mm.
I'm nowhere near
No.
that right now.
Mm-mm.
And it's if you
No.
let it get to you that way, you'll never get there because you're telling yourself it's not possible. Like look at the big goal, understand that like that's a dream space. This is going to be great and know that you can get there. But then let's reverse engineer it a little bit. Let's step back and be like,
Mhm.
all right, now where do I start with this? And
Yeah.
if it's 5 minutes a day where you're closing your eyes and taking time for yourself in that way, I promise you it will lead to the next step. And you will,
Exactly.
as long as you're putting in effort, you will be led to these goals that you're trying to
Yeah.
achieve.
Well,
So that's
so
really
wonderful.
big for people.
I know. Well, I'm
Mhm.
so excited you were here today. Thank you so much. Can you just tell me
Thank you.
I want our listeners to know that Audra has some beautiful different programs that she's running and to my listeners, she's giving a special discount. So can you tell me maybe about one of your offers? I'm not really sure. I think you just changed it or revamped it.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
I did. This is actually great timing because yeah, this is kind of like the rebirth of my business. I had a version of it earlier this year that, I mean, you're a business owner now too. You like the first thing you start with isn't always like exactly what you want it to be, but it's evolution. It's like you have to
Exactly.
again, you gotta start somewhere. So I
Yeah.
started and I let it evolve into the second version of what I have. So I'm now an empowerment and intuition coach because originally it was just empowerment because I don't know. I guess I didn't want to like involve the woo woo side of it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I was still fighting my fears of visibility a little bit.
Yeah.
But now I realize I didn't become the empowered person I am without my intuition. So why do I think that like I don't need to talk about that? So now that that's a specialty, I've kind of like added in as like well, I guess it's like they work together, empowerment and intuition coach. Like they have to come together.
Yin yang.
So
Salt and
yin
pepper.
and yang, exactly, exactly, exactly. I love that. So yeah,
Ketchup and
that's
fries.
yes.
Cream
Oh
and
my daughter,
coffee.
she'd be like
Sorry, keep
fries. Where
going.
yeah. I
I'm
but
sorry.
yes, so my offers. No, you're good. You're good. I realized when I first released my website earlier this year, I only had two offerings, which I still have them, and they're still kind of my signature stuff. Which are they're two like kind of these long term like coaching programs. One's 10 weeks and one is 6 months. It kind of depends on what you want. That's why I have options. So if you're like Radiance is my signature offer, that's where I'm going to take you through the process of like basically coming home to yourself and like
Mm,
finding your confidence again, finding your footing in this world
mhm.
again. And should you want to explore spiritual things, I will take you through how to connect with your spirit guides and trust your intuition again, stuff like that.
Beautiful.
Um, Amplify is my 6 month container where I take women through the like basically it's a little bit more niche where if you're a woman who such as yourself, Kim, actually you happen to be the shining example of what this is. You've been through something big, like say healed your MS. You want to get your story out into the world, but maybe you're still fighting fears of like, how are people going to take this?
Mm,
I'm worried
mhm.
about my image. I'm worried about, just confidence issues.
Yeah.
And I have a background in product development and research. So it's like
Oh,
I kind of use my product development and research background to help you like strategize, like, okay, how do you want to get your message out? Once we find the medium, it's like we'll do whatever coaching we need to do to get your confidence where it needs to be. And then I'm kind of like your right hand man, you could say, as you go along your journey of like it's starting a podcast or writing a book or whatever that looks like for you.
yeah.
So that's kind of more like a get your message out if you're a little timid about it. And then what I just added this last revision of my website now is Catalyst. So that's what I'll be giving your listeners a code for 33% off through the end of November for. And Catalyst actually came from it's the best way for a product I think to emerge, which is through experience. Like these things kind of just fell in my lap where I had people calling me and wanting like not even like calling me as like an empowerment coach. They were just calling me like my life's falling apart and I don't know
Mm.
what to do, whatever. And I found that within a 1 hour time frame, I was actually able to help them kind of come back to themselves and recenter
Oh,
and reground.
beautiful.
And they were able, like a true catalyst in that way. They're able to like go and
Mm.
like through my methods because I was like, oh, I can't like do magic in one session with people. Well, I've actually proven to myself that I can because this keeps happening to me. So
That's wonderful. So the
it's a
cat
brand new
is the
yes,
catalyst a one-time deal or
it is. It's a one-time
oh,
session that so you don't have
great.
to commit to 10 weeks if you don't want to do
I
that.
love
Yeah.
that. So you
So
have the catalyst and
it's
then the 10
proven and
week
tested. Yes.
great. So
Yep.
you have the
Yep.
catalyst, which
Catalyst
is
is one time.
mhm.
Yep. And then Radiance is your 10-week kind of more becoming the more radiant you package.
Mhm.
And then I have that 6 month container with Amplify. And of course, everything is very custom to you and what you need.
Right.
And no two people
Exactly.
are the same.
I
Literally everybody's so different. So
yeah, I think the catalyst is definitely my audience. That sounds so beautiful. Thank you for that
mm,
discount.
well, perfect.
And
Well then
yeah, and I
come see
think
me.
yeah, and we'll put that in the show notes, the code and how you and your
Yes.
platform, you're on Instagram and tell us where you're located. Where can we find you? I'll put that in the show notes too.
Yes, absolutely. You can yeah, reach me on Instagram, you can DM me anytime. It's just my web domain. It was really easy. So at
Okay.
unveilyou.co. And then
Uh-huh.
that's the same as my website is
Okay.
unveilyou.co.
Great.
And like I have all the information you could ever want about me, my backstory, my offerings, and
Great.
any FAQs, whatever, all on my website. So that's kind of a good
Perfect.
catch-all. That's where you can find podcast and YouTube information too. So on YouTube, I'm Unveil You Official, and then my podcast is Unveil You. Like it actually, I would actually suggest searching my first and last name, Audra Yankton, because there's no other Audra Yanktons that have a podcast, and it comes right to the top. So
Oh, I love
that's
that. Well,
helpful.
we'll have it in the
Um,
show notes and the link, so it'll be nice and easy for
Absolutely.
people.
Can
Yeah,
I
that's
tell
awesome.
you the craziest
Please.
thing actually, Kim, that
I
happened to
I
me?
wanna hear
Yeah,
another
just
crazy thing.
yesterday. It's
Yeah.
so timely. And actually it ties into this catalyst offering that I have is I have a young woman that I coach and she's very like she's motivated, we'll say, to like this particular time she wanted a raise at her job and she
Mm.
wanted a promotion. So we've
Yeah.
kind of been working on that. She'd never done EFT before. So this is my plug for
Oh.
EFT as well, and
Oh,
just
I
how
love it.
transformative one session can be. So we're in the session and it's pretty clear to me. I'm like, okay, you're telling yourself that you can't get this raise because you don't deserve it. Like that's what I'm hearing you say basically. And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess you're right. That is. And so I kind of briefly explained, hey, I think we could spend the rest of our time doing some EFT. It was only like 20 minutes worth.
Yeah.
And I taught her how it works and I showed her and we did, one round of tapping. And I'm not kidding you, Kim. We were so when you do your
Oh,
third
I
and
do.
final, like,
Yeah.
you finish. So you're kind of in that moment where you're like letting the energy settle. She gets a ping on her computer. It was her boss asking her, "Hey, we're promoting you in January. What do you want your
Oh.
salary to be?" You can't even make that up.
Oh, you cannot make that up.
Full
I
body
Oh my gosh.
chills.
So I don't know if you're hearing my dog. He's going, "Eep, eep, eep, eep." Can you hear him?
No, I can't
Okay,
hear it.
good.
No.
Okay, good. Because my
You had
VA,
like
my
graduation
VA
on
sometimes
background
she's
noise.
like, "Okay, I hear background noise. I'm gonna have to edit." So I'm just gonna say that, and he's really cute. He's on the couch there. He's Portuguese water dog. He's just so excited about
Beautiful.
everything you're saying. So he's going, "Eep."
Well, send him
But
my love. I love dogs. I
yeah.
love it.
Well, I will tell you, it is transformational. EFT really got me through the darkest of times. It really, I'm working with a different somatic coach now. Well, she's transform. I don't know. It's a different thing, but it's also very good. But yeah, I can't even. Yeah, EFT is, and you can't make that stuff up because you know
You
what it
can't.
does. It changes your what you're emitting, your energy, and yeah. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna
It's
have you back on, and
it's amazing.
yeah, we're gonna talk again about that.
Let's talk all the magic EFT
Yeah,
at some
I
point. Yeah,
know.
that's
I-
actually the next solo episode I'm going to be doing is EFT because I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, like if in the one time this woman ever did EFT, that happened for her, I'm like, okay, I would love to put this on YouTube in a way that breaks it down exactly how I just did it. And I mean,
Absolutely.
like seriously, it's that transformative. That's why I'm like, I can do one session with somebody and I know it can make an impact for them. So I'm just really
Right.
excited to start
Oh,
like
that's
seeing
great.
more faces in that way
I
and
know.
like helping people take their power back in 1 hour,
Ugh,
like if you can, in 1 hour's time, you can change your life. I really believe that. And that's
I
why I'm
know.
doing this. So
Oh
it's
my
really
gosh.
exciting.
I
Yeah.
love that. Well, thank you so much. Shout out again.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, you're
This has been so
amazing.
fun. I
So
always love seeing
fun.
you.
I know. I always love seeing you too. And yeah, I will again, like we'll have thank you for being so generous with your offer, 33% off till the end of November. This is 2025 if
Absolutely.
somebody's listening in a couple years. But
Yes,
by then
that they
she's
actually
gonna
good point. Good point.
but I think
Uh,
that's it for now and make it a beautiful day. Thank you for being here. I'm going to call my tribe as my fellow warriors. Yeah, there you go.
oh, amazing.
Love
Yes,
that?
you are. Yes, you're part of my soul tribe. I love it so much. So anyway, thank you again so much, beautiful Kim, for
Absolutely.
having me today. Look forward to the next time. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
me too. Thank you so much.